I support Falconer's bill really out of the depths of my faith. I think it comes down to what sort of a God you believe in. If you believe in a paternalistic, controlling God, then I can see you might have problems with this. But actually I believe in a God who is compassionate and essentially offers us free will and then calls us to work collaboratively with him through creation in order to build our own lives. And the biggest choice that we have to make of all is to do with the choice of our eternal soul. I mean, that's at the heart of the Christian faith. And if he entrusts us with that choice, why would he then want to take away our choice just at the very moment we need it the most?
Hasn't suicide under any circumstances always counted as a sin, though?
No, actually, it's a relatively recent construct. If you go back to the Bible, I think there are 9 suicides in the Old Testament, and none of them are condemned. And you could actually make quite a cogent argument for saying that there was a suicidal element to the crucifixion. Jesus knew full well what was going to happen, and he did not count his life just simply going on more valuable than the higher task he had to do. So he went ahead knowing that he would die at the end of his walk to Jerusalem.
Are you saying that Jesus' death was the first assisted dying?
No, I'm not. But I'm just saying that there are greater, deeper moral issues about your life than just making it go on and on forever as long as it possibly can go. There are higher things.
Now, have you ever been against it? Did anything happen to change your mind?
It's more that theoretically I was quite in favour, almost kind of instinctively. And then it's now about 1.5 years, 2 years ago, an uncle of mine in Switzerland developed a devastating terminal brain tumour, and he decided that he wouldn't have treatment. And actually, because he didn't have treatment, he had still quite a high quality of life for 3 years. But he went through the whole process of signing up with Dignitas, and there came a point when he felt that it was no longer bearable to go on. And so he had his family around him, and they had beautiful music and good wine, and he took the tablet and he died very peacefully and pain-free. And everyone knew that the next 2 or 3 weeks until he actually would have died, let's say naturally, would have been utterly horrific as the brain tumour finally overtook him. So he had no choice about whether he would die or not, that was a given, but he was able to have some choice over the manner of his death, and his family experienced that as hugely loving, and they don't have to live haunted by the images of him finally slipping away in the most horrendous way.
The critics say, though, that that's all very well, but the knock-on effect of permitting those kinds of deaths in this country might then open the door to other deaths that aren't so voluntarily undertaken. What do you say about that?
Well, fortunately, we're not the first country that's done this. There are other countries that have done it, Switzerland, and of course now we're talking about Oregon. And the statistics just don't show that to be the case. In Switzerland, they have better health care, better old age care than we have. Old people live longer, so it doesn't seem like they are bumping off their grannies. And palliative care is of a higher order there than it is here. And they've had 50 or 60 years working at it. And actually the numbers of people who actually undergo assisted suicide have remained very steady, sometimes a little dip down, sometimes a little dip up. And interestingly, I was speaking to the boss of Dignitas in Switzerland the other day, and he said that out of all the people who get what's technically called the green light, in other words, they've gone through the entire consultation process and could do it if they demanded it, only 90% of them actually do it. But for the others, the other, let's say 80%, it is a huge emotional help in dealing with their illness, because they know that if things really did get out of hand, and that was what they feared, there would be something that they could do about it to retain control.
So it's 19%.
19%, yes.
Now, here in this country, if it's such a straightforward matter of justice for the dying, as you portray it as, why hasn't it happened before?
It's extraordinary. Certainly, I can only speak from a Christian context, really, and it's still a taboo subject, and I'm not entirely sure why. Linda Woodhead did some research through YouGov, and she discovered that I think it was 75% of Anglicans and 71% of Catholics, lay people in the pews, are actually in favour, but that there's a complete, taboo would be the word, about discussing it amongst the hierarchy. I had an extraordinary experience at General Synod when I was a complete rookie, and they debated the previous bill, which was the Joffe bill. And everyone was standing up and saying the Christian thing, which starts with, we all know what a terrible thing this is. And it was completely condemning the Joffrey Bill. And with fear and trembling, because I was a complete new girl at General Synod, I got up and said the other point of view. And when I sat down, my phone went completely mad with people texting me and Facebooking me and so on, messaging me from within the chamber of General Synod, saying, Rosie, I completely agree with you, but I don't dare say it. I think it will change because the conversation is more enriched now, and we're having events like the event tonight where people are articulating what they feel, and that's the first step. Even if they're against, talking about it is really important.